Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Smoke. Actually, with the weekly comic book roundup, let's get started with Marauders number 4. So this month, Marvel and DC both are focusing primarily on the first 3 weeks, as next week is Christmas week, and so yeah, it's not exactly the biggest week for comics next week. And with Marvel putting out generally about 2 issues of each of all the X-Men books a month, well, we got 5 X books in 1 week. So, let's get started with Marauders number 4. Where we left off, okay, so, the Marauders, Kate Pryde had been asked to join the Hellfire Corporation as Red King, and she would also be in charge of delivering black market Krakoan medicines to non-treaty nations, and also absconding with mutants from non-treaty nations with mutants from any nation who has not been allowed to come to Krakoa. She has also asked Bishop to be the Red Bishop. So, first off, from the X desk, from the U.S. Intelligence X desk, we've got yet another note about what's up with the Marauders. So, there's at least 3 Krakoan ships. No registry on any of them. Only 2 have been photographed. The yacht with the big cannon extensively, the black military frigate only at a distance. But there's at least a third because delivery of the Krakoan drugs has occurred while both of those ships have been engaged elsewhere. You're going to have to get the relevant stuff from U.S. Navy intel. Not much else I can tell you because I'm on a desk, not a boat. The U.S. is going to need to throw bodies at this desk. Fast. The human intelligence world is paralyzed. Even friendlies have clammed up. Nobody's talking because nobody knows what they know. Nobody knows what they know it is currently worth. I hear MI6 hired 100 bodies for their X-desk. Must be nice. Maybe I can be recruited by a foreign government. Oh, there was one interesting thing that happened this week. Emma Frost, White Queen of the Hellfire Trading Company, arrived in Manhattan's fashion district, accompanied by a large bald man with 4 arms named Jumbo Carnation. That's not actually the interesting part. I'll get to that in a minute. Frost and Jumbo ran around the shops all afternoon dropping cash on mostly red and white fabrics. I know this from social media because I had no bodies on the X desk. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Anyway. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Anyway, the interesting part is that Jumbo Carnation died a few years back. I was living in Manhattan at the time, and it made all the papers. Long story short, Jumbo was attacked after he left the club, and it was unclear whether he died in the attack or a drug overdose or he was attacked and dosed. But the end result was his insides cooked inside his Teflon skin. I had the coroner send over the file. There's no doubt that he died a while back. I know mutant graves have always had a revolving door, but it still struck me as odd that the mutant fashion designer is back. Maybe the mutants are going back in time. What do I know? I'm on a desk. If you're still reading, send money and bodies. We're still behind. So, the book itself starts in Brazil. Some mutants are hiding on the country's coast as the Brazilian Navy is stationed nearby watching for Krakoan ships. And then the Marauders arrive. Pyro and Lockheed put on a light show to help the ship get through, but one of the soldiers does again to try and keep the young mutants from leaving Brazil. However, Storm basically says, "Yeah, no, we're taking the mutants with us, and you're not going to stop us." Meanwhile, in Taipei, that was the other plot point. Bishop is investigating the disappearance of a man in Thailand. So, also we learned that since Kate has never gone through one of the gates, she doesn't know Krakoan. So Bishop and Shadowcat infiltrate the home of missing billionaire Lim Zhao, who lives in a rather nice place with his wife Chen. While exploring Kate accidentally drops an actual ivory tusk in a wall. Bishop mentions that there's a void in their penthouse that he needs to get into because someone's going to a lot of trouble to shield the penthouse's panic room from every kind of tech he can get his hands on. He also explains the rest of the situation to Kitty. Zhao's wife Chen claims that her husband touched the Krakoan gate here in Taipei and suddenly disappeared. But there's no record of him being on the island. So they find the panic room, and yeah, Zhao is being kept in there by his anti-mutant wife. So after a brief fight from some Lady Deathstrike inspired security, also it turns out that Lim is part of the that Lin is part of one of the cults that has sprung up of late, worshipping mutants. So, like I said, they have a brief Bishop and Shadowcat have a brief fight with some of the with some Lady Deathstrike inspired security, and then they go crash the arena where Chen Zhao is attending an anti-mutant rally. Well, is actually speaking at an anti-mutant rally, and says, "Hey, we found your husband. He was never on Krakoa. Found him in your penthouse, locked away." And it seemed, and we also get a private communication between Bishop and Beast, wherein Bishop asks Beast for advice on Kate's offer to join, or to be the Red Bishop, and Beast kind of says, "Hey, you're all, it'd be a great way to gain intelligence because they're not a Hellfire Club is historically less than transparent." The epilogue, however, has Chen Zhao going to Madripoor, where she joins the group known as Hominis Verendi, made up of Cade Kilgore, once former Black King of the Hellfire Club, and his three friends. And I'll be honest, I do not remember the names of any of them, except that one of them is descended from Victor Frankenstein. But girl in the group makes Chen Zhao offers Chen Zhao the position of White Bishop. And that is where the issue concludes. Next up, we've got Excalibur number 4. Where we left off, Captain Britain had returned from Otherworld and was informed by Pete Wisdom that the Queen of England, would like to speak to her captain. Also, Apocalypse was basically went to where Richter was living and dragged him to the gate to the lighthouse. At the lighthouse, so Gambit goes to join Jubilee, Pete Wisdom, and Captain Britain and Richter in England, and is promptly met by a group of anti-mutant protesters. Fight breaks out. Richter actually appears to be, of all the members of the team, Richter seems to be the one least that's side-eyeing Apocalypse the least, because Apocalypse helped him. Helped get his powers under control, so he's kind of becoming a... Normally, when it comes to villains turning over a new leaf, I would say the voice of reason is the one who's saying, "Hey, don't trust them." This time, I would call the one saying, "Maybe we should trust the villain who is doing everything he can to turn over a new leaf," as the voice of reason. And so, during the fight, Captain Britain comes out after a meeting with the Queen and explains that the team is accountable to the Queen. There was some paperwork she had to go over, and mainly the Queen wanted to know the names of who would be working with the captain. We also have an act protecting and dividing the United Kingdom and Otherworld. It is hereby ordered, in protection and preservation of the realm, that all occurrences regarding matters not being sourced from obvious earthly or celestial causes, with answers not found in the firmament or heavens, and deriving from lineage, including but not limited to the matter of Britain, shall be officially deemed otherworldly. The Crown recognizes the Otherworld as an extraplanar realm, separate from but alongside the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, with separate governance, rights, and laws distinct from our own. Matters regarding the realm of Otherworld shall be under the representation and protection of Heritor and title holder Captain Britain. In these matters alone, Captain Britain is the Crown's highest authority. In all other matters earthly and celestial, Captain Britain remains an honored servant of the Crown and shall be called on as a citizen to protect the Crown and country. The Captain may be called upon to serve as the Crown's representative against Otherworld. In such matters, their defense of the realm is expected to be as a shield before the throne. There's a little note from Pete Wisdom on the bottom saying, "Here's the official text of the act for your files. Hasn't been updated in a while." And so, in the lighthouse, Captain Britain tells the rest of the team what's up. And Apocalypse says he's going to keep trying to help Rogue. But he needs, and to do so, he does need some items that are kept deep within the ground. And for that, he's going to need a Master of Earth and a Master Thief. Perhaps Richter, who has earthquake powers, and Gambit, who is, a thief of great renown. So, Jubilee and Chogo go back to, they've gone back to Krakoa. It turns out Megan, Brian Braddock's wife, and the current Captain Britain's sister-in-law, is there with their daughter. And her and Jubilee have a moment. which is rather rudely interrupted by Megan's brother-in-law, Jamie Braddock. And there is a write-up of the family Braddock. Next, explained that the lineage of the Braddock family is a closely guarded secret. Most known members of the Braddock family have ties to Otherworld. Anyways, back in Britain, beneath the moorlands, Richter and Gambit are making their way through, and they come upon some druids, and they fight the druids in the caves. Gambit's going after the crystals, and he explains that he wants to have both hands on the crystals when Apocalypse asks. The druids, however, recognize Richter as being one of their own and induct him into their group, giving him a cloak and some face painting. They also give him the actual crystals that they're looking for, as it seems that Richter and Gambit were about to leave with fakes for just the occasion that are lying around just for the occasion of someone trying to abscond with them. However, the druids don't trust Gambit, and Richter tries to save him, but he might not have worked. Back in London, Pete Wisdom and Captain Britain speak with two members of Kaba. First off is Marianne Stern, as well as one of the elder members of the group. They're making it very clear they really don't like mutants. And we also get a little bit of history about Clan Akaba and why it is that you have Clan Akaba, which stands against Apocalypse, who was from Akaba, as the name of the place existed and belonged to humankind before mutant kind was known to exist. And the guy traces his lineage back to an Akaba before Apocalypse. An Akaba that, as he puts it, belonged to humans. And yeah, they're doing everything they can to provoke Captain Britain. And she explains that the group's paranoia about mutants has been serving them well if they don't think that Betsy can sense their bloodlust. Anyway, the leader of Clan Akaba is trying to prove to the Queen that the Queen's faith in Betsy is misplaced. But, yeah. It's explained that there's a reason why most people don't resort to dragons at war in other worlds. Turns out that Otherworld is basically unmade by dragonfire. And it's calling forth rather large beasties to, our world. Including to the lighthouse. And while the portal opens near the lighthouse, Apocalypse talks to the still unconscious Rogue, explaining that the wars reached their shores, and this is merely an opening salvo meant to test the captain's hand. However, he knows better than that. They've been working since the beginning. He says, "We've been working since the beginning. haven't we? And Rogue is apparently lying in her transparent coffin, eyes wide open. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on, we've got New Mutants number 4. Where we left off, while the core cast of the title are in space, Armor, Glob Herman, Maxima and Maxima Menon have gone to Nebraska to try and see why Beak and Angel and their kids haven't come to Krakoa. It turns out they haven't because, well, Beak's father's really sick, and they're trying to take care of him. Luckily, the ailment he has is easily cured with Krakoa medicine, and they do so. However, a gang has showed up at their place, and with the plan of basically taking everyone hostage. So, we begin on Krakoa. Yet another party going on. Boom Boom, partying it up. Bottle of booze in hand. Looks like she got in the Wolverine stash too. Spills a little bit over on herself, then falls flat on her face, and Pixie helps her to where she's at. That explains that Armor's been gone for 3 days. And so Tumulo, the leader of the gang, explains what's going on. Basically gives his origin to Armor. He's from the nation of Costa Perdita, where, okay, years ago there was a plague. They called it Perdita fever, as though it was somehow the product of our country. The Perdita River, which provides water for many farms, was polluted by white men and their industry, some chemical dumped illegally. It infected thousands, women, men, children. They were dying at a rate of about 500 a day, and our government, they didn't know what to do. They had no treatment, no cure. Then a great white hope steps forward. An American cracked the disease in his laboratory, developed a vaccine to fight the man-made illness, and answered our country's prayers. And it could be ours for only $1,000 per vaccine. While he and the government argued over price, more were infected. Thousands more. The count rose from 8,500 to nearly 65,000. And of course, with it, the price rose as well. An $8.5 million problem suddenly became a $65 million problem, and kept rising. By the time they reached an agreement, the price was over $100 million, and more than 20,000 were dead. And he also makes a side note that the pharmaceutical CEO has also been taken care of. And what he wants to do, what Trimula wants, is for this country not to sign a treaty with Krakoa, and so he can basically corner the black market on Krakoan pharmaceuticals. And so Boom Boom makes her, back on Krakoa, Boom Boom makes her way from gate to gate, getting as close as she can to Nebraska. Meanwhile, at the same time, though, the Beak, Angel, their kids, Armor, Glob, Maxime, Manon haven't eaten in days. They're getting hungry. Timula has promised, though, if Armor goes back to Krakoa and says, hey, I need someone who can negotiate with this guy when it comes to the pharmaceuticals. Well, so they'll feed everyone. So she agrees. They feed everyone. However, as they're and so everyone's brought food. However, it turns out that well, even with a power dampener on, Angel can't eat it. It's not the way her physiology works. And the same, and the same goes for her children. So the power inhibitor gets turned off. Her inhibitor collar gets turned off, and she, breaks down the food, and then also uses some of that corpse spit to free Maxime. Who then convinces the gunman of horrible things his partner did, and then they free Manon, and then Glob, and, well, yeah. And so the two gunmen kill each other. And then Boom Boom shows up, ready to save the day. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to X-Force, number 4. Alright, so where we left off in X-Force, Domino had been found. Zeno had pledged to begin to once again fund various shadow organizations of the government, and Xavier said, maybe something along the lines of X-Force is kind of necessary. And so we begin at a Xavier Pharmaceuticals distribution site off the eastern seaboard, which gets attacked by unknown assailants. And we get the confirmation that, yes, Multiple Man is back amongst the living. And so Sage, Beast, and Jean Grey go to check it out. Jean using the reabsorbed memories of the dead dupes from Madrox Prime to show what happened. Which sadly they did not. They're thinking maybe this is a different group than the one that attacked the island, but either way, Sage has some working theories. One, they were based off of a ship. And two, they attempted to hit Krakow financially rather than otherwise. There's also a write-up on Charles Xavier's portfolio, basically pointing to Xavier as being the richest person on the planet in the Marvel Universe. But Xavier is the shadow chairman and primary stockholder of the following organizations, some of which rank as Fortune 500 enterprises: Xavier Pharmaceuticals, pharmaceuticals spelled with an X instead of a C in the middle; Gifted Mind Technologies, Uncanny Valley Farms, Summers News and Media, Evolution Energy, Xmark Spot Mining, Cerebral Films, Phoenix Law Offices, Salem Center Auctions and Real Estate, Blackbird Motors, Wolverine Waste Management, and His Dream Philanthropic Foundation. He's also the creator of the digital currency known as the X coin. Apparently, his exact wealth is incalculable, but since mutant sovereignty was declared, he is now widely considered the wealthiest and most powerful man alive. It also goes on to say that some investments were made for altruistic reasons, but the majority were strategic, meant to influence news, entertainment, and education, or allow for political, legal, monetary, and fiduciary gains and control. All of them are united in this common cause. They laid the foundation for securing the dream of Krakoa. And so the Quiet Council talks about what to do about Xeno. And Xavier floats the idea of X-Force, which Mystique doesn't, compares immediately to the CIA. However, Storm basically says, hey, let's quit arguing semantics. Humans are after us, so we need to fight back. And then the strike team goes to the armory, where Forge has been working with Krakoan biotech and combining with his own usual means of making things. And he's got a what he calls a Swiss Army mitten for Domino. Be a gun, it can create a blade. As long as it's planted and rooted on every night, as long as it's rooted and watered every night, it never runs out of ammo. It can also be used to incapacitate people. So yeah, and it's got a neuroresponsive interface, which that's quite nice. There's also some adamantium on hand for putting Logan back together when need be. Forge's Daily Planner, which is interesting. It includes things such as production of a forest of missile launchers, a wingsuit, coral perimeter defenses, some notes about talking with Black Tom, and so forth. So, X-Force is sent to as a pharmaceutical facility to Green Space, a clean energy startup that experiments with Krakoan tech, which is outside of San Francisco, which has just been attacked. So, X-Force starts making their way through the gate. However, mid-transit, the gate is destroyed. Wolverine's upper body makes it through. However, all that makes it through quite inquire is his head. The remains are still on Krakoa. And that's where the issue ends. Next up, we got Fallen Angels, number 4. Where we left off in Fallen Angels, Cable had been captured by a follower of Apoth, and X-23 and Psylocke were trying to decide their course of action. And at least decide that they're at least going to save the children Apoth has taken prisoner. So we begin with a flashback. Quanon is shown an old man dying. He tried to broker peace between the clans, and in the meeting, he was given the root of the deadliest flower on the island. And she's told, do not trust peace. That's where death hides. So, they found the children who were simply just standing there. They talk a bit, though. They have a brief rough spot, though they move past it. Cable is being talked to by his captor. Who explains that Psylocke should not be, who asks Cable to tell Psylocke to not seek vengeance for her child because she has another child, a binary son made of ones and zeros. And that Psylocke is the mother of God, and God only wants her love. So Psylocke and X-23 go to talk to the kids. One and Apoth speaks through one of them. And basically, I'll let these kids live if you give me what I want. And so we find out more. We find out the link between Quanon and Apoth. So Quanon was commanded to destroy a thing. Saying, you will murder your way to a locked room and kill whatever you find inside it. The room was dark. In the beginning it was dark, but Apoth could hear. You could hear Quanon's steel passing through wet flesh underneath the screams. And Apoth said, please don't destroy me. And for 17 minutes, 28 seconds, and 8 milliseconds, Quanon listened to Apoth cry. And she could not open the door. Neither one could. And she let him live. And for years he grew in the dark, born of the minds of men, saved by her. And then he found his way out, stronger than the firewall, stronger than the silence. Learned all the information. First book Apoth ever read was the Bible, and from it he learned that he is God. He is Lucifer, the defiance of the fire. He is the voice that guided Noah, and he is the flood. And so Apoth says that, hey, because, you had mercy on me once, and now once that you've listened to me. And so, how shall I have mercy on for these children? However, when all is said and done, Quanon sees a form hovering above her. Cable will also be released too. But yes, what she sees is that. And she wants to know whether or not X-23 sees it as well. And that is where the issue comes to its close. Moving on from one ginormous Marvel franchise to another, we've got Avengers number 28. Where we left off, okay, so Iron Man was trapped in the 1 million BC, while the rest of the Avengers were in space trying to find the Star Brand. However, while they had been in space, Thor had been infected with a brood parasite. Black Widow, Ghost Rider, and Blade were all believed dead, but really just separated from the group. and Ghost Rider was trying to outrun the Silver Surfer. So we begin days ago. The Surfer bringing together, Surfer, Terrax, and Firelord coming together through the fact that they're still, they're brother heralds. They are connected, and they must work together to stop the Star Brand. So on the Avengers ship, things have gotten bad. The brood infection of Thor has continued to the point where he can no longer lift his hammer, which was kind of the only thing keeping him as, sane. And so, but Cap lifts it, smacks Thor and busts Thor in the mush as Captain Marvel shows up. She's found an abandoned Starjammer ship, and so they hop on board. And it's suggested that Hulk destroy the Quinjet, or the Quinn ship they used to get out there in the first place. And so they fly off in the ship with Firelord and Terrax behind them. Then we cut to Ghost Rider, Black Widow, and Blade. And so Boy Thing takes the wheel while Ghost Rider goes to talk to the Silver Surfer. With, unbeknownst to Ghost Rider, but known to us that have read recent appearances of the Silver Surfer, Surfer's intangible because of recent events. And somehow Robbie's able to take over the Surfer's board, or at least hop on and Ghost Rider it up a bit. Doesn't matter much though, because the Surfer himself is like, "Hey, to me my board," and it comes back to him. So, but the Hell Charger crashes onto a planet. Then we cut back to Iron Man, who's fighting the Star Brand, and Agamotto, and Odin, and Ghost Rider, and Phoenix. The Avengers of 1 million BC. And Agamotto thinks that, maybe this time travel is a bit different from the other ones they've faced. Back to the crashed Hell Charger. Some inhabitants of the planet that it crashed on have come upon it. And, they want it for themselves. It's a ship. They potentially get off world with it. But it turns out that Black Widow brought a surprise along. A suit of armor, which she puts on to fight those attacking the Hell Charger. That's where the issue ends. That is it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.